Greetings, students. Remember yesterday I told you that I had some tea to spill on the age of discovery. If you have not watched the other videos, you need to go back and watch those. They are no longer than 10 minutes. Some are up to 5 minutes, so it won't take you that long to catch up. Miss Lennon, as always, misses you immensely, and I can't wait to see you again. So I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're washing your hands and keeping your hands out of your mouth, eyes, nose, and staying 6 feet away from everybody. And remember to stay home. Okay? So our lesson is on the age of discovery. Remember, today we're talking about Queen Elizabeth and Sir Walter Raleigh. She ascended the throne in 1558 and she reigned over England for 45 years. She was a famous queen, and it was during her reign that England gained power and prominence. The queen was famously known to have well-dressed, elegant, and joyful courtiers around her. That is why it is said that youngsters who were very well-dressed and of jubilant temperament would surround the queen. Once she was going somewhere on foot with her close acquaintances when they reached a muddy spot that was a minor hindrance in her path. Present with the king was Sir Walter Raleigh, who was a very close and faithful friend to the queen. Raleigh was known to be a man of class, and he would dress very well, too. When he saw the mud that stood in the way of the queen, he immediately took off the valuable and expensive cloak he was wearing, and he lay it down on the mud, even though the spot was of insignificance. Historians say that Queen Elizabeth was astonished and asked with great surprise as to why Raleigh placed such a valuable cloak above the muddy spot. Sir Walter Raleigh responded by saying, "It is better for my coat to be spoiled than the Queen's shoes to get dirty." It has been said that Sir Walter Raleigh was quite the charmer, and he was very, very handsome, ladies. He was also a gentleman, just like the incident that I described earlier. Now, Queen Elizabeth was known as the Virgin Queen because she never married. However, she did have many suitors. A lot of men wanted to marry her, but she didn't. I think she just wanted to keep her power all to herself and not have to share that with a man. She even said that she was married to England. From that time onwards, Raleigh was shown special favor with the Queen. The Queen was highly interested in exploration but also in colonization. Sir Walter Raleigh and his brother, Sir Humphrey Gilbert, would work together to plan an expedition to the New World. And Queen Elizabeth I was also known as Good Queen Bess because people loved her, but she forbid Sir Walter Raleigh to go. He could plan it, but he couldn't go. Some historians say that she was secretly in love with Sir Walter Raleigh. She told him that she had a dream, a bad dream, that he was actually lost at sea, so he had to stay close by her. Sir Humphrey Gilbert, his brother, did end up taking the journey, and lo and behold, he was lost at sea. So did her dream come true? You have to use your own judgment on that. So the Amadas and Barlow expedition was the first of the English voyages to Roanoke Island. This expedition was led by Captain Philip Amadas and Arthur Barlow. They left with two ships. One was piloted by Simon Fernandez, a Portuguese navigator. On board was Thomas Harriot, a mathematician and scientist, and there was an artist by the name of John White. After anchoring, the explorers went ashore in boats to view and take possession of the land for Queen Elizabeth I. It was kind of like in the movies when they find the land and they put a stake in the ground and they say, "I claim this land in the name of the Queen." Barlow's journal provides an almost lyrical description of the land that they saw, and they met the Algonquian Indians, and they soon began to trade with them. Barlow gave a rough idea of the geography of the region as best as he could, and after 6 weeks of exploring and traveling on this expedition, they left with two Indians, one named Manteo and one named Wanchese. They returned with all kinds of things to show off, including Manteo and Wanchese, and Queen Elizabeth was so happy that she knighted Sir Walter Raleigh. Manteo and Wanchese disagreed on European life, though, on their visit. Manteo loved the cobblestone streets and European culture. Wanchese was not impressed with European life. It bothered him that they had beggars on the streets of London. He wondered why they would have beggars on the street, and they were advanced civilization. And he said to Manteo that we might be called savages sometime by these people who come to our lands, but at least everybody can eat. There's nobody hungry or starving. So Wanchese believed that the Europeans were up to no good. Raleigh kept tight control of Manteo and Wanchese's schedule and had his guests dressed as Englishmen so they wouldn't draw so much attention to themselves. But you can imagine how people felt when they saw them. With this information, Sir Walter Raleigh is going to send Ralph Lane and his men down to attempt to colonize this particular area that they are going to. The Indians are helping them at first, but then the tensions sour because the men are a bunch of military men and they're around looking for gold instead of helping them plant and do the things that they need to survive. The Indians helped them out as much as they could, but them themselves, they were limited as well. So Sir Ralph Lane went to find them one day and he couldn't find them. And he figured that they were trying to starve them. When they did get up with them, he blamed them for stealing a cup, and then they fought, and they ended up killing the chief, and they had to leave. Sir Francis Drake was coming down. He had some adventures and things that he was doing, so he was coming by, and they caught a ride back with him. Drake left some slaves there, but they were never seen or heard from again. So this time, Sir Walter Raleigh is going to try a new method. He sends women and children to ease the tension between the natives. What are they going to do when they see women and children? You know, children are going to play regardless of what color they are, what culture they're from. They're going to play. They're kids, right? And then the women are going to learn from each other. How do you braid your hair? How do you make the shoes that you're wearing? From all kinds of things. So it's going to ease the tension between the natives, hopefully. Okay. He puts John White in charge. He is governor of the white colony. He has to go back and get some supplies. He does have a chance to witness a baby being born in the New World, the first European baby, who happens to be his granddaughter. So he was excited about that. Before he leaves, they discuss safety plans. He says, upon my return, I will be singing songs like Mary Had a Little Lamb or London Bridge is Falling Down. If there's any emergency, please carve a cross into the tree. It's just like today when we have a lockdown situation or fire drill or tornado drill, we already know what to do. They already knew what they were supposed to do. So somebody's in charge of getting to that tree and carving a simple cross in it just in case something bad happens, and I will know. So that was their safety plan. When he got back, well, first of all, when he went back to the old world, he could not get back because they were at war with the Spanish. The Spanish Armada, which is a fleet of ships, was fighting with the English. So he could not leave. It had been mandated that nobody could leave. So he made it back 3 years later. When he gets there, he doesn't see anyone. Nobody comes out when he sings. He noticed that Crow is carved on a tree and Croatoan is carved on a fence. Okay. But stormy weather and problems with the ships made it impossible for him to go and look for his family. So he had to go back, and he never saw his family again. He never knew what happened to them. Okay. So Sir Walter Raleigh's attempts at colonization all failed. Okay. He eventually fell out of good graces with the king, someone who was one of the queen's right-hand man. Okay. He fell out of good graces with her because he ended up marrying a lady in waiting, and a lady in waiting is the lady that's going to help the queen with whatever she needs. She follows her around. If she has to sing, read, dress her, whatever it is, that's what she does. And he secretly married one of those ladies behind her back. And imagine how the queen felt if she was secretly in love with him and she finds out that he's married, not only married, but he's getting ready to have a baby. So she locks him in the Tower of London, which still exists today. He was let out for a brief period because he said that he could help with a war that was going on, and he did do that. Okay. We fast forward a little bit after Queen Elizabeth dies. King James, he reigned, and he was allegedly told, some historians disagree on the dynamics of this, but he was allegedly told that Sir Walter Raleigh was conspiring against him, and he was locked away again in the Tower of London for 15 years, and then he was executed. He was beheaded. His last words were strike, man, strike. So even though Raleigh was unsuccessful, Captain John Smith went to Roanoke 20 years later, and he inquired about the lost colony. Some natives in the area explained that they had killed them all. Another told a story of some people who looked Indian, but they dressed as Englishmen did. They were in suits and dresses, and they had English names, and they lived in homes built like the English. A lot of the people that Smith encountered there had the last names of the families who traveled over with the white colony. Some historians believe that the Lumbees of Robeson County are descendants of the lost colony, and I gave you an activity to do on that, to research your own opinion for the lost colony. In 1607, Jamestown was the first colony to colonize. The Virginia Company, a private joint stock company, paid for this colony as an investment. Okay. Jamestown was almost unsuccessful too. Colonists almost starved to death, which is called the starving time. However, strong leaders such as Captain John Smith forced the colonists to grow food rather than going out and looking for gold all the time. And he said, if you don't work, you don't eat. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Make sure all of your work is caught up. If you need more time, just email me. I've been hearing that some of you have more work in some classes than in others, and if that is the case, then we can definitely work something out where you'll be able to still continuously get your work done. You're only expected to spend 45 minutes a day on each lesson. Now, Ms. Lennon has limited hers to 30 minutes a day. If you're really good at history and history is your favorite subject, then it shouldn't take you that long at all. I could see you getting done in 20 or 25 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to need you to write your responses to your questions. I'm going to have a certain spot for your activity about the lost colony that's going to be in Google Classroom under classwork, and that is where you would paste that. You can read below this video link the questions that I am looking for you to respond to. Thank you, and as always, I really do miss you guys, and I don't know, I hope that you are enjoying yourselves, you know, just taking time out for family, spending more time with family, finding things to entertain yourself, positive things to entertain yourself, and hopefully we will be back soon enough where we can get back together and have so many of those wonderful conversations that we had in class. I just miss the way that your faces light up, and when you figured something out, how wonderful and special that is to a teacher. You have really made teaching enjoyable for Miss Lennon, and I think that's why I've always just remained a teacher, because of students like you who come into the classroom, who are ready to learn. Even now, a lot of you aren't just sitting back taking a break, but you're doing the assignments that Miss Lennon has posted for you. You're sharing your thoughts and everything. So please continue to keep up the good work, and I hope to see some of you soon. Have a great weekend.